How you doing, everybody? John Arizzi here for another edition of Pro Wrestling Spotlight Live. Welcome, everybody. It is October the 3rd. We're now into October. Fall is definitely here, and it was a beautiful day here in Nashville, Tennessee, where I'm broadcasting from. We don't have producer Dominic in New York with us today. He's was invited to a friend of his birthday party. So, Dominic, have a good time, and thanks for leaving me all by myself here today, Dom, but it's quite all right. Welcoming everybody who's joining us from everywhere. Aaron Bias, other Facebook, anonymous Facebook users. We'll be keeping a close eye on all of them today. But we have a pretty cool show lined up for all of you today. Last week, we were supposed to have Jeff Miller on with us, and Jeff was a gentleman who a lot of people knew as the Metal Maniac. And years ago, I did some bookings with Jeff and Superfly Jimmy Snuka. And so he wanted to tell a couple of stories with him. I hope he will be logging on so we could have him on the program with us. Also, later in the program, we're going to have Terry Kent. Terry Kent is with the Pro Wrestling Historical Society. He is a gentleman I met right here. So I do see Jeff logging on, which is cool. But but Terry will be joining us and talking about the society that's on Facebook. There's 35,000 members, and also him reaching out to talk to us about helping him with the archives that he has and making those available to you. So we'll have a conversation with Terry upcoming. And as we usually do, we bring Alex Robertson on from Montreal, Canada. And so we'll be joined by Alex in just a couple of minutes here. A special day for Alex, which we'll explain in just a couple of seconds. Saying hello to everybody else. Dan Brown, how you doing? Richard Newsom, how you doing from the UK? Dave Drayson Berzinski, how you doing, big guy? How you doing? Everything is good here. So I see Jeff in the waiting room, and he's out of the hospital and hopefully doing really well. We'll be getting on the line with him shortly. But first, what we're going to do is I am going to share the screen right off the top here because, as I mentioned earlier, it is a special day for Alex. So I am going to let everybody know what kind of special day it is for Alex. I will share the audio, and we will share the screen. And here we go.
Oh, happy birthday, happy birthday. Oh, happy birthday to Alexandria.
A little corny, but it's okay.
Happy birthday, happy birthday. Oh, happy birthday to Alexandria. Oh, happy birthday, happy birthday. Oh, happy birthday to Alexandria. Oh, happy birthday, happy birthday. Oh, happy birthday to Alexandria.
And there we go. Alexandria, happy birthday to you.
Thank you so much.
Greg Oliver wanted me to sing, so I couldn't do that without, shooing off everyone that's on here today. So I found a little ditty for you on YouTube, and we're able to play that.
That's great. I love that. Thank you.
I do have another one I'm going to play for you before you leave today.
Oh,
so
great.
That one's a little bit wacky, a little bit more towards my personality.
Looking forward to it.
But anyway, how's everything up there? I heard you guys have had some changes recently with all the COVID stuff that's going on, and obviously there's seems to be a bit of a new spike up there.
Yeah, we keep recording, record cases. We've had a huge spike where I know it's not maybe like what they see in the States, but we've recorded upwards of 1,000 cases per day, which is insane for Quebec. So the government has decided to shut down bars and restaurants for now, and they've already said that they're going to announce more restrictions starting Monday, which could involve gyms and recreational sports. So definitely not looking forward to that. And it's definitely not ideal, it being my birthday, that we can't go out anywhere, we can't do anything, but I think everybody is in the same boat right now. So we just gotta make do.
Yeah. Well, what's going on here, obviously. The president of the United States is in the hospital. 10 of his closest aides have been infected over the last week. Governor Chris Christie, the former governor of Jersey, was infected. That was announced today. Kellyanne Conway. So he's in the hospital. Trump is in the hospital. President Trump is in the hospital. His wife has it. So, 45,000 new cases a day here, and 1,000 people on an average dying each day. It's this virus ain't going anywhere. And and so we're all kind of very, very mindful and very just hopefully this thing will go away. There'll be a vaccine created because it really is. It's like the gift that never stops giving here now. It's just everywhere, and it's not stopping. But lots of stuff going on in the wrestling world. I know there's a big show on Impact tonight. Other things taking place this past week. So why don't we get to it and let us know what's going on?
Yeah, so tonight is Impact's Victory Road. So it is one of their pay-per-views. It's just a smaller card. There's about 7 matches on the card. Some of the top ones I would say would be Eric Young versus Eddie Edwards for the World Championship. They tend to start off the Impact show from what I've been noticing lately, and they've been getting a lot of heat. So should be an interesting matchup. They're both very good competitors, and you can tell that chemistry is there. And we know that when there's a good storyline and there's good chemistry between two wrestlers, it should be magic. So I'm definitely looking forward to that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And another one that I'm looking forward to is Deonna Perazzo versus Susie. Susie is a very interesting and unique character, I would say. She comes out as this bubbly, type of person, but we know at any moment she could turn into Sue Young and all hell will break loose. So we may see that tonight. We may not. I mean, if Deonna can keep her under control, I'm sure she'll get the win. But if Sue Young comes out, I'm not sure it's going to go Deonna's way. Yeah. And another match that I thought was interesting set up for this card tonight was Jordan Grace and Tennille Dashwood. They've been having matchups, I would say, the last few weeks. So, I mean, I'm not really sure why they keep having matches. I mean, they're both very talented. I just think the storyline's running a little thin. And I was actually on Impact's call this week on their press podcast. And, even Tennille Dashwood says that she's running a little thin with the storyline. So hopefully, she hopes that she will defeat Jordan tonight and be the end of that storyline. And I think everybody else would like it to move on as well.
Oh, absolutely. You're getting a lot of birthday greetings coming in, by the way.
I saw that. Thank you, everybody.
They're all coming in here.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. That's very cool, right?
Yeah.
At least we'll bring the party to you, right? You can't go out party.
If that's the way it has to be this year, it's the way it's got to be.
Yeah. Well, we hope that next year is a different story. Yeah. What else is going on in this crazy world of wrestling this week?
Well, last week we had Clash of Champions, the WWE's pay-per-view, and the fallout from that, I mean, it wasn't significant. One thing that I did notice was in the kickoff show, we were supposed to have Asuka versus Selena Vega, but it got moved to the actual main card. And I know a lot of people were kind of skeptical as to what was going to happen with that and how Zelina was actually going to perform. But I personally thought she did a pretty good job. She held her own. And I guess WWE management thought so as well, because she ended up getting another title match the next day on Monday Night Raw. I don't know that was really warranted, but I like the fact that she's getting in the ring. And, if she's going up against champions, they got to have some kind of faith in her, because I haven't really seen that before. But I hope that we get to see her in other storylines, because I think she's a really good character to have for sure.
Yeah, lots going on there. And any updates on what's been going on with the COVID situation in wrestling, or, more guys being tested, more guys getting it?
Yeah, I mean, more people are getting tested that we know of, that we heard of for both WWE and AEW that I've heard so far. We talked about last week, Lance Archer was tested positive for COVID-19, so he wasn't at Dynamite last week. He should be back, not this week, but next week. So those are the only updates that we really have right now. I mean, I think the main thing is, as we said in the opening here, that it is a very strong virus and everybody really needs to be careful because it can really touch everybody. And especially in the States, we saw that this week with President Trump.
Yep.
So, I mean, I'd like to hope that both of those companies have it under control and that even Impact has it under control, because if there is a huge outbreak there and they're not in a bubble, it could go bad and we may not have wrestling for the next little while. So I'm hoping that it's under control.
Yeah, it's affecting the NFL now here. So yeah, you got to be really careful. And you know, it's just every week it just seems to get worse. You know, it's not getting better. So it's crazy. But I think that the nice thing that we can kind of step away from with all this COVID stuff is the fact that we still have entertainment, and the fact that these wrestling companies are still allowed to function even with a reduced crowd or no crowd at all, or like WWE's Thunderdome. So at least there's that. So I'm really, really hoping that continues, because I know I'm grateful to be able to watch that. So, I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Yep. Any updates, what's going on with the WWE and the performers with their social media like Twitch and Cameo? Are there any updates regarding that you know of to report?
They haven't really said. I know there hasn't been a statement released by the WWE saying that they're now allowed to use third-party platforms. So I assume that it's still under that same regulation that they're not going to be allowed to use them for the next little while, if ever. I don't think that many of the wrestlers are obviously happy with that, because you know, it generates another kind of income for them, another way to reach out to their fans. So I'm sure they're not happy about it. But as of right now, it's kind of died down. Nobody's really openly said that they're still upset about it. So that could mean other things too. That could mean that maybe, you know, Vince McMahon or WWE management is rethinking this, which is what I'd like to hope. But as of right now, no, the WWE performers are not allowed to use any of them.
Well, we'll see what happens with that as well. He's a pretty controlling guy.
Yeah, I think that's very true. So, I mean, it's only to their benefit to use it. So I don't really understand why he wouldn't allow them to use it. But yeah.
Well, I do have a special person I want to say happy birthday to you. He's been in the waiting room for a bit, and you know, Metal Maniac was his ring name. Jeff, are you ready to give Alex a good birthday greeting?
And happy birthday, sweetheart. I don't know where you are because it doesn't say where you are, but wherever you are, just know I'm 5,300 miles away, wishing you a very, very happy birthday on worldwide right here with John Arisi at the Matt Madness with the greatest ever, the Metal Maniac, not those jabronis you watch running around doing that Mickey Mouse stuff on TV anymore. That ain't wrestling.
Alex,
This is wrestling.
Jeff is actually in Hawaii right now. Aloha.
Jeff the Metal Maniac. That's right, the Metal Maniac. And I'm in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, brother. Who's got it better than me except for John Arisi and you, hon?
Well, Alex, as we do every week, we really appreciate you coming on, giving us the news, and we'll hear from you again next week. There should be other great stuff, hopefully, to report on next week. We'll see what happens. For the wrestling, there's always something going on. But we want to thank you and wish you a very happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you to both of you. I really appreciate it.
You're quite welcome. Good to see you.
You too. Okay,
Alex Robertson, and here he is, Jeff, Metal Maniac. It's been a long
Metal
time.
Maniac.
I haven't seen you in a while, brother. How you doing? First of all, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling fantastic. It really wasn't much of anything. I just thought it was a little neck pain because years ago I had a fusion. I went in and they were just x-raying me, but they take blood. And next thing you know, the guy says, "Come here." So he rolls me down the hall. Bingo, they're going through the arm. I don't know. I don't feel nothing. They can knock me out half of it. Went in, they just put a little stent. They gave me a little medicine take for 1 year. That was it. I was filming for less than 48 hours, and it was nothing. But it scared the hell out of me, but it was nothing. I've spoke to many people, from Tommy Cairo to so many others in my family I didn't even know had it. I thought it was a big deal. Not at all. So as far as I know, everything's good. I'm still doing what I'm supposed to be doing. There's no gyms down here because they got it shut down. So I'm just doing the same thing I was doing, walking, rubber straps, lifting bottles of water, push-ups against the wall, and this pretty much straightforward. So everything is doing good. I see you. You are worldwide. And ladies and gentlemen, Mr., and I don't say Mr. lightly, John Arezzi is a very influential person, has always been and was influential in my career, especially in the beginnings and all through the 90s until he got into the music thing, and then I didn't see him.
Then I left
but
for 20-something years.
For him, I found him.
Yeah, here's the story.
I looked for him, I found him, and I reached out to him.
This is one of the reasons I wanted to bring you on, first and foremost. Wait a second. Brian Last has a quick question. I'm going to put that on. Brian Last, was the Metal Maniac actually into metal? Were you into heavy metal back in the day?
Brother, I graduated music school. I can play anything from Black Sabbath to Judas Priest to Iron Maiden to Van Halen. You name it, I can do it. Period.
There you go. But several years, I think it was not several years, I think it was like 2018. All right. I own a home in Franklin, Tennessee. And all of a sudden I get a Facebook message from you who I hadn't talked to since the 90s. And you messaged me and said, brother, it's Jeff. It's Metal Maniac. I've been looking for you for 20 years. I was like, what, do I owe you money or something? And I didn't. But it was a situation where you wanted me to, get on the phone with you because you had a request. You were looking for a show that I promoted in Joplin, Missouri. One of the last shows I promoted where you were on the card against Jimmy Snuka, Superfly. And so you said you've been looking for me for all these years. If I had a tape of the match, and you really warmed my heart with that conversation because not only did you discuss the convention, and for everybody that went to some of the Weekend of Champions back in the day, this was the one from 1992. There's a photo there where you got some exposure in some of the wrestling magazines. But you wanted to reach out to me, and I thought it was a great story. So I want you to kind of tell it to everybody who is here about not only the convention and how it impacted your career, but also how that little independent show in Joplin, Missouri, made such a huge impact on the late Jimmy Superfly Snuka.
Well, first of all, when I came to your event in '92, I had just started. It wasn't but 6 months. I don't even think 6 to maybe 8 months in.
You were new. You were a new guy.
I was new. But I had the right friends. I was friends with Jimmy Snuka. I was friends with different people. People were helping me. Bill Apter was helping me. George Napolitano was helping me. And I called you up. I said, look, do you mind if I come? And you said, brother, I saw your picture. You look great. Well, just come on down. I got a spot for you, which a lot of places people don't do that. They looking for a nickel. You didn't do that. You put me there. And all of a sudden, in addition to what Bill Apter was doing, that's where George was there. And the next thing you know, you see that picture of with the girl. There were other pictures taken that day. There was actually, I have in my booklet, which I'll share with you in the future.
Yeah, she was a soap opera. She was a soap opera star or something that came down through. I think Stephen DeAngelis or someone brought her in, and she sat with you and Jimmy, and a bunch of pictures were taken.
No, that's not what I mean.
Okay.
What I'm talking about, there's another little girl that I took a picture with. A little girl.
The little girl.
Turns out. A little girl, and turns out that little girl 20 years later comes up to me and shows me. She goes, you know who that is? I go, yeah, I remember that picture. She goes, that's me. And I signed the book for her. And so you really actually helped me. In addition, with all these other friends, you helped me vault forward. You had every name under the book Tom Brady was still Johnny Gunn. You had, I mean, I saw Greg Valentine. I saw everybody there that I grew up loving and watching that you could have thought of. There wasn't, and plus, people have to remember, it was at LaGuardia's Airport, which is a nice venue, but to get to it, you want to stab your eye out, and it was packed. So people tried very hard to get there. They made it there because they loved it and wanted it, and what a great thing it was for me. I mean, I remember Kerry Von Erck was there. Ivan Putski and his son were there. There was Zabisco, you name it. Everybody was there. And it was an amazing thing. And I was just so happy to be there. And plus, like I said, I got tons of press from it. But more importantly, let's get to the point where I reached out to you because really I wanted some footage of this one night. And I'll tell a great story. You have to put yourself in my position. And this was, I'll say 95. This is in 1995. And I was still wearing my black pink with the electric colors. And first of all, my remembrance of the venue was a 3,000-seater. It wasn't a 500-seater. It was in the round. That's my remembrance of it. I could be wrong, but that's what I remember. And I remember the place being packed. I remember I was the only no name other than Brody Powers, and he was already, like I was, on the Global Wrestling Federation, but I left and went with Jimmy on the road. It didn't matter to me because I knew the TV I wanted wasn't that TV. I just went down because Akbar said come down. But so I'm on this card, and I'm flying in with Valentine, Tito, Bam Bam, Jimmy Snuka, and a host of others. And it was one of those things, it was in the St. Louis area, but you had to fly into Oklahoma and drive like 6 hours on a tour bus to get there to the building. So I'm thinking, I'm on this little plane. I keep thinking, oh man, this is, God forbid something's to happen with this little plane. I was worried about this little plane and turning out to be like Leonard Skinner. So finally we get there and we're driving, and I'm looking around the bus and I'm saying, holy crap, man, I can't believe John put me on this show because, man, the talent that was there was unbelievable. Now, I'm going to tell you something about that night you do not know. The main events were me against Jimmy, and then another co-main event.
You were in the semifinal. The way you told it to me, you were in the semifinal. The main event was Bam Bam against Tito. And Jimmy took
but I never told you. Well, so I did actually. So let me tell everybody what happened was
the whole thing. Jimmy, you told the story.
Well,
tell me the story.
You
go right ahead.
What I'm saying, you want me to tell it, right? Okay, so I'm in the back room, and Jimmy said, I walked up to Jimmy. I said, listen, we're seventh match, and then Tito goes on at the end. And this is what he did. He went like this. He went, oh, really? And that was it. He didn't say, I didn't question him. What do you mean, oh, really? I was, I was one of those kinds of people I was raised where you don't ask questions. Just be quiet and listen. He said, oh, really? I figured, well, whatever it is. So whatever it is, I'm sure he wanted to be on last. Whatever. I didn't ask. It was none of my business. I was there to do a job. That was it. And I was going to listen. Okay, fine. So Bam Bam and Tito, they were always very kind to me. And I always asked Bam Bam, hey, will you watch my match, please, and tell me, because I can't have people patting me on the back. Jimmy will tell me stuff when we're on the road together driving, but it was a long ride before we got home. He wouldn't have told me in front of everybody. He would have waited, till we got back to New Jersey. So I asked Bam Bam, please, let me know. Do I look like I'm in slow motion? Do I look like I'm rushing it? Like that. And he was very kind to me, Bam Bam. So, and I felt very close to him. He was just a really kind guy. Strong, tough, beat you up guy, but he was a true, decent fellow. He really was. So Jimmy says, "Oh, really? Okay, fine." So right before I go out, Jimmy's in the gorilla position right behind me, and he says, "Hey, kid," and I turn around. He said, "Brother, we're going to do it all." I said, "You want to do it all, or you want to do it all?" He goes, "No, we're going to do it all." Because we had an A match, a B match, a C match, and I knew what all meant was just lay it all out on the field. And so, we started hot because that was the all match where we could give him hills and valleys, and he's letting me lead, and it's happening organically. Yes, we had ABC matches, but you still had to listen to the people. You didn't shove it down their throat. It was time to go. It was time to go, even if we had a plan. Sometimes that happens, and it doesn't happen today. You just follow the stupid script. But besides that, so we're in the match, and at one point, I'm supposed to, I got Jimmy across the top rope. He's coming from the outside, and he's coming up, and I snatch him. So I hit him once across the chest, and he's hanging on. He goes, "Give me another one, brother." And so I give him another one, whammo. And then he says to me, "Give me a really big one and lay it in." And I never laid it into Jimmy. He said, "Make sure you lay it in, brother." And so I came back, and I kind of like swerved my arm a little bit. And when I hit him, I went whammo. He vaults off the side of the ring, and I'm looking where he's falling. There's a damn table down there. I never seen it. And he went straight through the table. So the place goes, whoa, and I turn around, and I get down, and I give Jimmy fingers, because that used to piss them off, And then finally I grab him, and I suplex him back in, and then he sells up onto his feet. He's selling, and then boom, we double close on. We do a 9 count. I go for a cover. Finally, 1, 2, 3. Eventually, headlock, tackle, drop down, leapfrog, double chop, backbreaker, and Jimmy put me outside the middle. So he gave me this tremendous splash. So, I mean, it was just such a great night. It was hot. It was fun for us. It was like that he was letting me lead. Even though I understood what he wanted, he was letting me lead. It didn't matter. He says, "I don't care what you call, I'm just going to do it." Which is this is all like, if you're a young wrestler, this is like, and John knows, or even if you're a smart mark, this is like swallowing a grand piano when he's letting you do whatever and trust you with his body. Here, okay, here. So I'm in this point. The place is hot, right? So Jimmy gets his hand raised. I milk it, and I get a couple of those security guards to help me back, because you can't just get up and walk out after a freaking splash like they would today, because they don't even know. They give you digs, DDT, pick you up. They don't even go for a cover. But that's another story. So we get back, and Bam Bam Bigelow walks up to me. He goes, "Jeffrey." I'm like, "What? What happened? What did I do wrong?" He goes, "Oh, man, I thought this was going to be an easy night. Now I'm going to have to go out there and kill myself." I'm like, "Why?" Because I didn't understand what he was talking about. He goes, "Man, you just killed it." I said, "I was just doing what Jimmy told me. I'm all defensive." He goes, "Jeffrey, relax. You did a great job. You honestly did. But now, who wants to go on after Jimmy? Nobody." And those guys had a great match, and I guess they
Jimmy
wanted for me. Watching Tito and him was great.
Yeah, but Jimmy, he felt a little dissed, I guess, that he wasn't in the main. He wanted to be in the main.
It wasn't that he was mad at you or anything. It wouldn't have mattered where he was if someone did that. I mean, Tony Rumble did that once, and the match after was Tony Atlas and Hillbilly Jim, and after Jimmy gives me the splash and Massachusetts, Jimmy was very popular as well. After that match, and I was getting carried out, I saw people standing up, putting their coats on, and the announcer said, "No, we had one more match." And the first thing I heard out of Hillbilly Jim's mouth as I was asking was, "Why did he put on us after Jimmy? Who wants to go on after that?"
Yeah, but from what you said a few years ago,
night! What a wonderful.
What you said a few years ago on that phone call to me, which almost teared me up, was that Jimmy really remembered that, and he would always ask you, "Brother, tell me about St. Louis." And even when he was starting to lose some of his facilities and lose his memory because of the Alzheimer's, I guess, I mean, he still would ask you about that night in St. Louis or in Joplin, Missouri, and that was kind of touched me because I know that meant a lot to you because he always used to ask you about it.
Yeah, I mean, look, Jimmy was like Tarzan in New York. He wasn't a telephone man. He spoke to his children like anyone else would on the telephone, but he wasn't like just the kind of guy to sit on the telephone. He just wasn't. Yes, with his children, but other than that, nobody. So I would call him on his little cell phone, and he would see Gimmick. He called me Gimmick for this. He didn't call me Gimmick for this. He called me Gimmick for all the shit that I had and everything from the finger paints to the hairspray to the gimmick spray in the hair, every kind of gimmick. So he'd call me Gimmick. So he'd see Gimmick on the phone. He'd answer the phone, "Gimmick." Yeah, I said, "Brother, man, you remember when I went through that table at St. Louis, man? Tell it, man." And I used to sit there and say, "Brother, we did this, and we crossed body out of the corner in a small package, and I clotheslined you over the top." This is the thing, though. I forgot to tell you. So we did this spot where just before the table where he's got me in the corner, chop, 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 shoots me off, reverse. He hits the corner, jumps in, jumps out. Cross body, I go down. 1, 2, I kick out. He small packages me. 1, 2, kick out, and then he would stagger backward, and I chase him down and clothesline him over the top. But I don't see that table. But when he hits this table, he spreads his body out. So he did not go through it because he didn't know it was there, but he didn't want to go through it. And then he told me that when he saw it, he didn't want to go through it, and he wanted to go through it later. And he made all those decisions in literally a millisecond. So that's, back then. But his memory, obviously, his local memory was not good, but his long-term memory was good. And so it would still, but he would remember that, and I would talk to him about things we did. And the one love that he had was that match because of that table and the way it happened, because that was organic. It wasn't written like it is today. It wasn't done that way. And who could have stopped themselves from going through a table at full velocity? And you know what I'm saying? It just takes it takes a master. And so I would talk to him, and we would just talk about old times, and it would help his head. And at the same time, he enjoyed it. And it was a big deal for me, that match. It was a big deal. It just was a very big deal. It was a big deal to me. The house was hot. I mean, listen, you know as well as I do. You can have 3,000 people sound like 300 if they're lousy. You can have 300 people sound like 3,000 because they're hot. This particular place happened to be in the round, sold out, and they were hot too.
It was a hot crowd. It was a hot crowd, and you reaching out to me.
I'm only no name.
And you reaching out to me 3 years ago, and you wanted to ask me about that show. I mean, do I have it on tape? Listen, I said I have no idea where that tape is, but I do have to tell you today that I had sold, when I was selling my house that year, I found a box filled with wrestling stuff. One of the reasons I'm back in wrestling because I have all these archives, and lo and behold, that tape has now resurfaced. So
Whoa. Wait a minute. Wait.
that show
You're
has
telling
resurfaced.
me
Yes,
you have that match? You
I
have that match?
I do. So, you know, as a get well gift, I mean, it's being digitized right now with all my other archives, all my films I shot in the 70s as a kid at Madison Square Garden, and that tape is being digitized right now. So I will be able to get that tape. I will get you a file of that tape, a link to that tape, a DVD of that match, of that entire card within the next couple weeks. So,
Brother, that's a really
that's why I wanted to bring you on.
That's a really special.
Because I knew how much it meant to you
special,
a few years ago. And I'm going to be honest with you. A few years ago, I'll be very honest with you, because I was out of the wrestling business. I was out when you called me. I never knew I'd be getting back into it. And during the middle of that conversation, I was like, I don't know what this guy wants because I haven't talked to you in so long. So I turned my tape recorder on and I taped about 10 minutes of that conversation. And I listened to it recently because it almost made me cry because of how it affected you and how much it meant to you and how much that show meant to you. And then when I found that tape, I knew that it would have an impact on your life, and I can't wait to get it to you. So
forgive me.
It's just kind of my gift to you, and that's why when we reconnected not too long ago, I was like, I'm going to bring him on the show and tell him that in front of everybody.
Well, forgive me. I'm just, I can't help but let some tears go there because that was a.
Well, I didn't even. I had no clue, but I had no clue what this meant to Jimmy. I had no clue what this meant to you.
It was. I will tell you this. There are 3 matches in my career that were out of nowhere. And this was one of them that was a tremendous piece of my heart and Jimmy's. The second one was I worked for a promoter out in Susie, Iowa, where everyone has a match and then a battle royal and the winner goes against Jimmy. And I worked with a local kid, put him over, and then the battle royal ends up with me and Nails. I end up turning him babyface just because they hated me more than they hated him. And he was an executive heel, I call it. And they turned him. And then somehow or another, he throws himself over the rope. And then here comes Jimmy, and I work 15, 20 minutes with him. And that man disappeared. I don't know what happened. I tried to get a hold of him. And then the last and final one was WXW at the Penn State University, where during every single match, the whole place was screaming, Snuka, Snuka, Snuka. And he came out, and I had brought him some new lavas from Hawaii and stuff. And when he came out, he was wearing that. And it was just, and the match went really hot. And then Jimmy does a falling headbutt, and I move, and I'm crawling closer to him. And I can hear him saying, "We got them, brother. We got them. We got them." So, like I said, John, that match that you're talking about is one of those things that just got this. That my reaction. I don't know. Some people could tell I've got choked up, but some people can't see this. But I can tell you that choked me up, John.
Maybe what we'll do. Maybe what we'll do is we'll bring you back. We'll bring you back after I get that digitized file back. I'll send you a copy. We'll bring it back and show everybody, and we'll talk. Have a little watch along, and have people watch it with us.
Could do a little. Maybe we could. Yes, maybe we can do a little color commentary.
Yeah, a little watch along
to
as
it.
it's happening because there's no announcers on it. There's no announcers on it. It's all footage, raw footage, and the entire card I have. So I'm looking forward to seeing it for the first time myself because I never saw it when I get it back from the company that's digitizing it.
I have to say, ladies and gentlemen, I've never been a real religious type guy. I mean, we were raised however we were raised, and I'm a Jewish kid, so I did my bar mitzvah thing, and I did the minimum requirements, and after that, my parents really didn't hammer me, but I still, it still stays in you, whatever. It doesn't matter if you're Christian or Catholic. We all have our own ways of whatever. I've never been that religious, but I have to say this. My neck hurt last week. I didn't know what it was. It just thought it was my neck because I had fusion. I went in, and luckily I went in because it was really hurting me. And I thought, it's just unusual. It's hurting me. It's never hurt me. Why is it hurting me today? And the guy takes some blood like they always do to check your everything. And the next thing you know, they're rolling me in to go into my wrist, to go into my heart, to put the stent in.
Yeah.
And the guy says to me, at one point, I only felt this little bit of pain. I was like, I'm laying there. You can't see the guy's thing, but you can see, and you're all buzzed out, and you're looking at the camera. And as he's there, he goes, oh, not this one, not that one. And then he goes, oh, there it is. And all of a sudden, I went, and he was said, oh, take it easy. 1, 2, 3. And when he said 3, he was up. I said, what happened? He says, well, if this would have happened at home, you would have passed out, and if you would have never been found, you'd have been dead. And if you would have been found, by the time they got you here, you had heart damage, and you would have needed a triple bypass, and God knows if you would have lived through it because of this one thing. So somebody is looking. And now, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you tell me this, and that tells me, folks, there's so much more around us that we don't see, smell, taste, touch, or feel, that we don't think is there, but it's truly, really, something is there. And you just saw John Arisi tell me and brought me to tears. And that was a gift I wouldn't have gotten if I'd have dropped dead. And that is the key. We're all connected somehow, some way. And that man, what he just did, that was the most beautiful thing most anyone has ever done for me, John. And I promise you, it will not be gone unsaid or forgotten.
Well, it's just I knew how much it meant to you, and when it was found, I was like, the first person I thought of was you, and I was like, I think I'm going to have a nice surprise for him. We got a few people here that are actually old acquaintances of yours who want to say hello. Remember this guy? Remember him? Mr. Mitch Seinfeld?
Let's see. I can't.
Well,
Mitch Seinfeld, nice Jewish boy, Landsman.
He said, you're looking good.
Looking
Mitch
good. I'm trying to stay up with these young guys.
Yeah, he's he was one of the youngest, if not the youngest, wrestling promoter ever up in the New Jersey area and New York, and did so many shows back then. Javier, I don't know how to spell your last name. This is a great listen. Maniac has a new fan, so that's kind of cool.
Excellent, brother. You can find me at the Metal Maniac fan page. I'm not the administrator. Just be positive.
Mitch is saying it was a good Hanukkah. It was a good Hanukkah gift for you.
Hanukkah,
what a Hanukkah
Christmas, gift. New Year's gift, Thanksgiving gift. What? It really was a mitzvah. A mitzvah is when you do a good deed. You didn't want anything. You didn't want a nickel. You just did it, and that's what you did. That's what you did for me.
Well, it was my pleasure, and I can't wait to bring you back. I can't wait to bring you back so we could watch it. And
it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be so much fun. It's gonna be so much fun. I mean, so much.
But you want it on what? You want it on a DVD or on a USB drive? How would you prefer me send it to you?
Honest to goodness, if you just put it up on YouTube the way you normally do, and I could just save the link, that'd be okay.
I'll send you a link to it. I'll send you a link to it. once it's up there and
Yeah, I
upload.
mean, I don't want you to go. Once it's
Yeah,
up, once it's up there, it's
YouTube,
up there forever.
Yeah, I have a YouTube channel. It's just John Arezzi's Matt Memories. So once I get that back for everybody, I'll put that entire show up
I'm
there.
subscribed. Yeah, I'm a subscriber, so I see what you do.
You'll get the link, and I'll send it to you anyway, just so you could have it, just so you could watch it anytime or whatever. We'll work it out. But I want to thank you for coming on because, and most importantly, I want to thank you for you were an interesting cat back in the day. I mean, you were just big metal maniac, and having Jimmy at the convention too, and that was a special weekend, as all the conventions were. But getting to know you and then not hearing from you and not hearing, I wasn't in touch with anybody for 20 something years, really. And then when you made that call and that Facebook outreach, and I had that conversation with you, it really touched me as well. So I wanted to thank you for telling your story. I'm happy, as we all are, that you're doing well after your scare last week. You're looking good. I'm happy. Thank you for putting the face paint on for everybody today.
Brother, seriously, I mean, not everybody should have to do it, but man, I'm breathing better. I feel better. I'm sleeping better. I mean, I'm walking the 30 minutes. It's like, wow. I mean, it's just, wow. I mean, how they do what they do now today is really fantastic. But it's like, look, don't overdo it, but we need you to do 30 to 60 minutes of cardio 6-7 days a week. Right. And that's it. And you just start out with 20 and work your way up. 22, 24.
Yeah, just take it easy.
They give you a blood thinner for a year. Because,
ease into
plus, it. You got to stop. Honest to goodness, you got to stop. Once this happens, if you never want it to happen again, you really got to eat lots of fruits and vegetables, because the beef, the chickens, and the fishes, and the cheeses, these are the kinds of things that do build up. But other things don't. So a little bit more, less chicken, beef, and fish, and more vegetables and fruits. So that's all I can say. Who am I? But I can tell you, I wish I did that before, but we're doing it now, and everything is wonderful. And I just can't believe that people from the UK to Honolulu to India, from the shores of Pensacola to the sands of Waikiki, just know that you got the match I've been trying to get. And folks, if you see that match,
I can't wait.
You will know why Bam Bam and Tito were like, son of a gun, what'd you guys do that for? I go, what are you talking about? I didn't know I was young. I didn't realize Jimmy was like,
following Jimmy's
lead. I'm going to make everybody work harder.
You were following Jimmy's lead, and even though that main event.
Well, what he told me, you got to do.
Yeah, well, that main event, I had it because at the time I had put the IWAS title on Tito, and I had Bam Bam. That was my main, the two guys. And then I put Jimmy in the semi. And then after all these years, I found out that he wasn't quite enamored with that. And that's when he said, we're going to do it all, brother. We're going to do it all. And you guys did.
Oh, that's what he said. He said, oh, really? Okay, so like I said, I just painted my face. I was oblivious. I had no idea what he's thinking.
It was a good ride. It was a good ride. You followed the lead, and you had a great match. I can't wait to see it, and we'll watch it together, and it'll be a lot of fun. Jeff, stay well, and we'll be in touch real soon with you. Okay, my friend? Aloha.
Yes, brother. And if anybody wants, aloha, and if anybody wants to, see the Facebook, it's the Metal Maniac fan page on Facebook, but you have to be positive. There's no political. There's no negative. The administrator is a separate person, but you'll see anything I put on my personal there, so you're not going to miss anything. And but like I said, I had a stent put in. Everybody that's had a stent put in looks at me like, hey, what are you worried about? It's nothing. Shut up. So I am. And like I said, John, you're a fine gentleman for what you did, brother, and you brought tears to my eyes, and I really appreciate it. So remember, folks, you stick with John, you stick with Madness, because this is the Metal Maniac, and we are worldwide, brother. Brother, get it right. Metal Maniac.
There you go. Thank you, man. Good to see you. All righty. Jeff Miller, the Metal Maniac. And that was a surprise I wanted to throw on him, and that's why I wanted to do it here in front of everybody. I knew it would have an impact. So I was able to find that match after all these years. So it's being digitized right now for him. I wanted to give a plug to an event that I'm doing actually later on tonight for the Cauliflower Alley Club. It's on Fight TV. And it's a benefit for CAC. And it's on Fight. And in about 10 minutes, it's going to start, actually. Diamond Dallas Page will be on at 7 o'clock Eastern. Eric Bischoff follows at 7:30. The Bushwhackers will be on at 8 p.m., then followed by the Blue Meanie. And at 9 o'clock, I will be hosting a half-hour segment with Ron Scholar. Ron is the guy that started the IWC. He was my entertainment attorney back then in the 90s, and he's the one that wanted to do Lucha Libre. And so we had then connected with Conan. I connected with Conan through David Meltzer. And then before you know it, we have a deal to bring Lucha to the United States. And in back of me, over my shoulder, you could see the poster from that first big show in Los Angeles in August of 1993. So Ron and I will be discussing that. That's at 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 Central. Then after us, Jerry Briscoe will be on with Steve Kern, followed by Medusa. Then The Big Show. Taz will finish it up at about 11 o'clock. So I will be looking forward to being streaming live on Fight TV. Kenny Casanova invited me. He's the one that started COVID Con. So this one will be a benefit for the Cauliflower Alley Club. And it's $9.99 to participate and watch that live streaming on Fight TV. Richard Newsham with a question. Any chance of having Ron and Conan back? Well, yeah. I mean, there's always that chance. We're trying to get Conan on tonight on the Fight TV deal. They originally had scheduled it for October the 4th, which was tomorrow, and then they moved it. And then Conan couldn't do it because he was promoting a show in Mexico tonight. So it'll just be Ron and I. And I believe there'll be a CAC staff member as well. So that's what we have on. I've been waiting for Terry Kent to join us. Terry is the person that is from the Historical Wrestling Society on Facebook. A collector, an archivist himself of wonderful wrestling memorabilia. So, Terry, I hope everything is good with him. And let's see if I've gotten a message from him at all. Oh, okay. There he is, actually. He is joining. I just got your message, Terry. So as soon as you settle in there, I'm going to bring you on, and we'll finish up the show with you. So sorry you were having difficulties. Bring them on. Terry, you there? There you are.
There
Terry.
you are. I was watching the whole thing. I didn't realize this first time I've been here, so I didn't know what I was doing, and so I've actually been with you the whole show on camera there.
Oh, very, very cool. Now you are in, what is it, Stoughton?
No, sir. I work in Stanton, Virginia.
Stanton.
But I live in
I said it wrong.
Virginia.
Waynesboro, that's correct. And you and I met through, I guess, one of my auction sites on Facebook, or a private message, and you had there was a magazine that you purchased, and all of a sudden we have a conversation about an incredible amount of archives that you had and have, and you were looking to at this time of your life maybe share some of that stuff with some of the fans out there. And you told me about a great group that you were associated with. Maybe can you explain to us first and foremost about the Historical Wrestling Society that's on Facebook, Pro Wrestling Historical Society, with over 35,000 members on it?
Well, I went back there today and checked just a little while ago. We had 35,700 members today.
Nice.
And most of them are active. I was scared to look at that statistic. And over 18,000 of them have been active in the past 30 days. So it's not like we have 35,000 members and 100 are participating. We had over 18,000 participate actively with some type of participation in the last month. It was started in fall of 2013 by Greg Skelly and Jimmy Wheeler, and now Jimmy and I are pretty much the quote unquote owners, and it's varied. We have a website, which is ProWrestlingHistoricalSociety.com. We have the Facebook group, which has the 35,700 and some members. We have different other Facebook groups, such as a book group, where we a lot of times interview the authors or discuss the books we're reading presently. And I could just go on and on. Jimmy usually sums it up real quickly by saying we have hundreds of articles, reviews, bios, interviews, which I just recently did, Bobby Bass and Irish Mickey Doyle. We have results from the 1800s from all around the world, all the way France, Germany, all over the world. We have results from 18,000, excuse me. You're making me nervous, John. It was so exciting, that last segment. From 1800 forward, we have so many thousands of results and so much more. It's just a pleasure, just like what we just saw a few minutes ago. I mean, wrestling is good memories for most people, and as the older you get, the more the good memories matter. And as we just saw just a few minutes ago, and that's what we try to do. But we separate fact from fiction. We preserve history as it happened, only what can be documented, not kayfabe. We want the truth, and we think that what some people call a jobber or enhancement wrestler is just as important as the greatest main eventer of all time.
Well, the Facebook groups are really very cool. If you haven't had a chance to check them out, please do. I mean, I also just discovered the Professional Wrestling Historical Society book group. So that's the other one you were talking about. And I really, because I have a book coming out,
Yes.
I have even a special interest for it. Share a link to the group. I mean, it's simply facebook.com/Professional Wrestling Historical Society. Just put that in the search engine. That's what Richard says from the UK. Can you share a link to the group? Just go on Facebook and just search Professional Wrestling Historical Society. But you and I also connected because of an archives collection that you had that dated back to the early 1900s with Farmer Burns, and you have everything in a storage facility that's temperature controlled, and you're like, you know what, I think it's time for me to start sharing some of this stuff and maybe letting some of it go, as hard as that is to do. But over the last several weeks, we've been listing some of your archives, which included some very rare original posters from that era. So we have, each and every week now, we put up 5 of those things for auction on John Arezzi's Vintage Wrestling Auctions, also on Facebook. So good stuff, Terry. It's been doing well, and was it difficult for you to let this stuff go?
No. As we discussed one night at dinner, it was such a great night. I'm getting to the age, it's more important that someone will still treasure it and appreciate it one day whenever I'm gone. It was, and really enjoyed Alex too. My birthday's in 5 days. Mine's October 8th. And the older we get, I just happened to join Medicare just a couple days ago. And the older I get, I just want to make sure, it goes to the right people that will treasure it.
Yep.
And that's what I'm finding. It's very gratifying that it causes joy to people's heart, just like you and Jeff there.
Yeah, it certainly does. And there's some amazing stuff. There's old Smoky Mountain Wrestling posters and independent shows. And then, some of the gems were the WCW posters. We talked about this off air today, but we have a poster here, which we're going to make available to one of you video watchers on this show, Pro Wrestling Spotlight Live, and I'll show it for everyone. And this is a WCW poster, and it's from Sunday, November 18th, 1990. NWA Wrestling at the Harrisonburg High School, Harrisonburg, Virginia, where the main event was Ric Flair and Arn Anderson versus Doom with Teddy Long. So here is that poster, and it is actually signed, personally signed by El Gigante, remember him? Art Barr, who was the juicer in WCW at the time, in NWA. J.W. Storm, Teddy Long, Ron Simmons, Tim Horner, Robert Gibson, Ricky Morton. But there's a gentleman here who signed this, which I think people will know if you could take a look at that signature over there. The Nature Boy, Ric Flair. So this poster here is available tonight if you wanted to make a bid on it. $150, I think, with 12 or so autographs. We'll ship it to you. But if you want that, just send us a message, make a comment, and we'll be able to get that out to you. So the first one who wants that, $150 is the opener. If anyone else wants to bid more than that, that would be fine. We have so many other things on Facebook this week, including issues of Wrestling Review and some other artifacts. So one thing, Terry, I mean, I really appreciate you and I being able to develop a friendship, and also you offering some of these wonderful archives that we're sending out, and having people give people the opportunity, and fans the opportunity of keeping this history alive by owning a piece of it.
Yes, sir. I'm going through my mom's personal possessions, and guess what I found last night? It's a picture to my mom personally, Myrtle, from Ric Flair.
There you
so
go.
I'm still finding my memorabilia everywhere. I've got a Tony Schiavone bobblehead. I just keep finding things weekly anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's a joy. That's the same thing that happens to me. You never know. I just went into my storage bin a little while ago because I'm doing this Fight TV deal, and I found that poster from the show I promoted with Ron Scholar back in '93. So we're going to discuss that on Fight TV in about an hour.
That's a great show. If anybody can go back and listen to it, also, I loved it.
Yeah, it was a spectacular night. It was the third largest grossing show of the year in 1993. But Terry, I know you and I are going to be in touch. I mean, we'll be. I'll be passing through Virginia in November again, so we'll stop and have another Cracker Barrel dinner.
Happy Thanksgiving, right?
And it's been a pleasure to have you on the show today. And I want everyone to check out the Professional Wrestling Historical Society on Facebook, as well as the Professional Wrestling Historical Society book group. And Terry, I really appreciate you coming on today.
My pleasure, sir.
All right, we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, John.
Thank you. Terry Kent from Virginia. And I want to thank everybody once again for coming on and seeing this show. I mean, each and every week we try to keep you entertained, and we have some good shows coming up next Saturday night. The guy who runs the editorial division for ECW Press, Michael Holmes, who cut book deals with so many people over the years, will come on, and we'll talk about what ECW Press does. And they're my publisher for my upcoming memoir, Matt Memories, which comes out April the 4th. So he'll be joining us, and who knows who else we'll be in touch with this week to come on the show next Saturday. Additionally, in 2 weeks, Dave Meltzer said that he would be on in 2 weeks from today. So we will get that interview, and I think it'll be an exciting episode with Dave Meltzer here joining us. And that's going to about wrap it up for this week's Pro Wrestling Spotlight. I want everybody to stay safe out there, and until we talk more wrestling with you right here on Facebook Live, this is John Arezzi. We'll talk to you next week.